Here we go. We're going to go back. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to go jump right back into Tinkercad and learning the buttons and the things, how you make this thing work. And then you guys can practice it now that you all have an account, right? So here we are. Share that screen. Okay, so let me see if I can move everybody's picture. Let's see here. I'll move it up here. Here we go. Move it down there in this corner. I think we'll be okay here. Okay, so everybody can see my screen. I see it says they can. So again, just a quick review. Right click. We do this. We can move our plane. Shift and right click. We can relocate it. All right. Scroll and we go in and out. All right. And this shift and this move, we would call that a pan view. So, and then of course we can always hit our buttons over here to go home. We can go to the top or any of the sides that we choose. We can even look at the bottom or the top. And then again, we can always just go back to our home. And again here, I think this one will zoom in, this one will zoom out, but we already know that all we have to do is roll the dial on our mouse. So that's even much, much easier. So in the left of your screen here, it's going to give you some welcoming and all of that. But the gist of what we're going to do here is it says, see this shape in the center. And what we're going to do is go over here on the right-hand side of your screen. It shows basic shapes. And that's how Tinkercad works. Now I'm going to tell you all, that is not how most graphic programs work. But in this regard, we're dealing with building blocks and solid shapes and being able to build things using this toolbox that we have over here. So with that in mind, we're going to take this box, we're going to drag it out, we're going to drop it, and all you do is left click on the box, hold your button on your mouse down with your left click, drag it over and drop it. Okay, good enough. Now, it's going to give you all the specifications about the box that just got dropped onto your screen. If you'll just go out here in space, just click there. We don't care about all that stuff right now. Let's grab this box again by moving our mouse over it and left clicking it, and then we're going to drag it over and we're going to align it right in that box. When you do that, the orange lines will go away and your box will be located. So now we're going to read the directions as to what we were supposed to do, which is, you see the orange shape on the work plane, which we did, and that's your guide. So then we find the box, which we did over here in the toolbar. We clicked it and drug it over onto the work plane. So that's very simple. That's what we wanted to do. Now, I'm going to just jump in here because this is a little bit more advanced. If you notice, every time I hover over these dots, I start getting measurements or I start getting numbers. Those numbers are measurements. So this box happens to be a 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter box. Okay, so there it's showing your height. Here it's showing your width and your depth. How simple is that? And again, if we want to, we can look at the front or the side or the top or even the back. We can also just go back home and it flips back over. Okay. So no matter what you might misclick, you have an undo button up here. We love that. Always love an undo button. So we can do it that way. You can also hit Control-Z, but this is a menu-driven system for the most part. So use the menus. You don't have to remember a bunch of stuff that way. So over here in your toolbox, let's look at our basic shape toolbox over here. Notice that you have this one here that's got X's on it. Well, guess what? That's actually a hole. That will create a hole in another box. It will create a square hole in another object, or a cylindrical hole in another object. You can also put any object out here and then convert it to a hole and use it that way. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but the idea here is that you build things and then you cut things away. All right, that's a simple idea. If I want to have a round, if I want to make a donut, I'm going to build a circle and then I'm going to cut the hole in the middle of it. That's how we do it in this. Now there is a tool over here and a shape over here that is a donut or a tortoise, whatever you want to call it here. We call this one a tube. But let's say we wanted to put a hole in the center of this half sphere. We can drag that over and then we can take this hole, drag it over, size it, and cut it through. That's also a way that we do it even in some of the more advanced programs. We're still building solid shapes and then cutting away things we don't want to use. So if you're a high school instructor and you do end up building your class around some higher end programs like SolidWorks or Inventor or SketchUp, Pro SketchUp is another one that's a good one, then you're going to use this technique very similar to that. Okay, so with that in mind, we've done what we're supposed to do here. Let me move you guys over a little bit here. And so we're going to go to the next step. Oh, look at all that. Yee-hee, we did good. According to them, we did good. All right, so we're done with that one. Lesson's complete. The next thing we're going to go to here is view. So it's going to reset. Okay, so view we're going to run through really quickly because pretty much I've already told you this one. You've got your top, your front, your sides, your home, your shift to pan, shift to pan, and your right click to manipulate, right? Okay. My rights and lefts, I can't remember. Okay, so I go back home here, and so just left click and drag it anywhere on the view cube and see how that changes the viewpoint. So we can click on this and we can move him around, and notice he's drawn in a perspective type view where he looks like he's far away when he is far away and all that kind of thing. So then you can always put him back in the middle. Guess what you can do? Oh, I put him over here, but guess what? I really don't want that. Oh, yeah, here we go. Undo. Everybody good with that? Okay. So try clicking different areas on the cube. And again here, you can do this guy, which we've done, and all that. So we're going to blow right on through this guy. We're going to go to this next. So learn how to zoom. So we already know how to zoom, right? We can use this plus button. We can use this minus button. Or we can use our scroll button on our mouse. Okay. Next up, see a faster way to look around. Again, here, they're just going to tell you that if you want to use the touchpad, you can either press Control or left click while you drag. So we've done all that, right? So press and hold the right mouse button while moving your mouse to practice rotating your view of the design. So right click, we're doing it. And then on the last one, we're hitting Control and the left click while you drag. Yeah, there we go. So we got all kinds of movement going. We also get some of that from right clicking. The shift right click gets you the pan. Remember, that's Control and Shift, rights and lefts. You'll figure that out. Takes a little practice. And we're successful again. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next tutorial here. So this one's called Move It. Continue to the next step here. So we've got 4 boxes on our work plane. Remember, the work plane is basically your desktop or your table that you're building all of this on. So you're going to left click, you're going to drag, and you're going to drop these guys right on spot. 4 different ones, right? Boom. And if you notice, I've got this set on 1 millimeter down here, so I don't have to get all that close. I just have to get somewhere in the neighborhood, and it will put it where it's supposed to be automatically. Boom. I missed this one just a little, if you notice. Boom, got that guy. I moved him. There he is. So you're going to get good mouse control. Again, like we said earlier, you're going to need some good mice for your classroom. That one's off just a bit. Let's get him positioned. And hopefully you're following along and doing that, or looking at my screen or whatever. But also, if you notice here, this keeps popping up, telling us all the dimensions and what's going on with this box. Okay, so we've done what it says here in item 1. Left click and drag it into the box and then hit continue. Did it. Okay. Hopefully everybody kind of understands that one. We've moved them around, and with this being on the snap grid of 1 millimeter, just means that all I have to do to snap into place is get within a 1/2 millimeter of it, and it'll jump it over. Okay. And everybody, remember, if you've got something that you're having problems with, jump it in there on the chat, because I'm going to be looking at that every once in a while to make sure that we have an empty chat box. Okay, so here we go again with rotate. All right, so that's how we're going to figure out some more things to do here with rotate. So let's upload here. Okay, so as you can see, I'll just call these dice or boxes are kind of randomly placed. All right, that's how they want us to position them. Well, if you remember, when we move this box in, it lays flat. So next on our screen, it's going to say, select a box by left clicking and on the shape. This will enable the shape handles, which that's all of these characters. And then rotate your view to get the best view of the curved rotation handle. You notice that? See this guy right here? There's your curve rotation handle. And here's another one. And here is, hang on a second here, let me just do this. So, and here is another. You see those? Play with those just a little bit to get the idea of what's going on with them. So this bottom one is going to allow that to spin that on that axis. Same situation here, it's going to spin it on that axis. And this one will spin it on the, I believe it's the y-axis. Okay. So with enable the shape handles, rotate your view to get the best view of the current curved rotation. Use the curved arrows to rotate each shape to match the 45-degree angle. Well, in this case, this guy is going to be the one to match the one on the left. And so we can spin it over till it hits 45. Click it. Now we should be able to drag this guy over and drop him into place. That makes sense to everybody? I hope. And he's there. Bingo. Now I'm going to try it again. If you're still working on number one, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and drag number two out here. And I know that number two has to be moved around on this axis. I can just see that. So let's rotate him. What? 45, I believe, is what it said. Yeah, it tells us that these are at 45-degree angles. So we move it, and notice I put 43 in here, but guess what? Click on that, type in minus 45, whoops, 45, and bingo, you have what you want. If I wanted this to be minus 50, I just type that in and see it moves it 50 degrees. In our case, it's telling us we want minus 45. So boom, we've got that. Now we can just click over here and you can see that it's in the correct plane, but it's not located correctly. So going back to the skill we learned earlier in the move it skill, we're going to move this guy back and we're going to position him in place. Done. I'm going to go ahead again. If you're still working on that one, that's fine. In this case, we have a completely different look. So guess what? Maybe we need to look at this from a different angle. I'm thinking that we probably need to look at it from the side. So let's use a shift left or right click. That's going to move it. Control left click is going to let us rotate it. Now I can click right there. I can type 45 in there. It just moved it 45. And now it's in the correct alignment with this. And you say, well, getting it from there over to there is going to be tough. It's not going to align quite right. Don't worry about it. Hit the home button, click it, and then put it back where it belongs.
Hey, Jim, there was a question in the chat.
Okay.
Ron said, mine is looking different than yours. The red boxes are already inside the clear cubes and I can't rotate. It wants me to enter a number. Is this because I'm on a Mac? And Gina Hubbard said, same for me, and I'm not on a Mac. And Tanny Rita said, mine looks different too.
Interesting. If it asks you to enter a number, then put 45 in that number.
Okay. Any other questions about that, ladies? If so, put it in the chat and we'll keep an eye on it.
So what they're saying, to make sure I understand, is when they drag their box over, and they find their handles. It's forcing them to put a number in this box. Is that correct, Gina? Not quite.
My boxes are already inside the orange boxes, if that makes sense.
When you
My red-
started?
Yes. They're
Okay,
already
good.
in there, and I'm trying to change it to fit the orange shape, but it's just not. I don't even have a place to put in a number.
Okay, so if you grab your box, can you drag it out of your orange shape?
I can, but it makes another one.
It duplicates it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've got several boxes now.
Well,
Still a lot of fun.
here's what you can do. You can go down here and you can hit reset. Okay, hit reset, and it's going to reset your progress and say yes. That's what's happened. Possibly your boxes are already there. Yours are just like mine, is what you're saying there.
Yes, that's how mine looked from the beginning. Yeah.
From the beginning. Okay. So what happens when I hit next? I see what you got. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so well, the idea is still the same. Click on this, go to the handles, okay? And let's fix your handles. This one, yeah, that's the one we need. And so we're gonna click right there. We're gonna go 45 and it should fit it. But for some reason, it's only doing it that way. Wow. Didn't expect that technical difficulty, but that's what we have. The idea is more about you understanding how this box can be manipulated by using this dial than it is about hitting that shape. So even though you may not complete the lesson the way that it's designed, the learning is still going to be the same. And that is, click on one of these guys, drag it over here, and click the rotate section, or type in a dimension that you want in order for it to move the box. What we're trying to teach you here is that you have full capability of doing whatever you want to with this box. And placing it is only one part of what it's asking you to do. So that's my best workaround, since it's kind of a weird deal that I can't touch your computer and see exactly what you're seeing. So let's just try to understand what we're trying to learn, and we will learn what we can based on this. In this case, I've got 18.8 on my box here. That's not what I want. I want minus. Actually, that was the dimension, but I've got some goofy measurement here. Can't even find it. There it is. Let's get that guy to 45. This guy to 0. And we can again always go up here and back out and just keep. Now he's back flat. Well, rotate in our exercise here today wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be, but hey, we're still learning what, and I promise you this program will rattle you and make you angry and make your students angry and all of those kind of things, because it does do things occasionally that you just can't explain. I don't have a great answer for you there. So we're going to hit home, and then we're going to say, yes, we we did what we were supposed to do here and rotate, which is understand that these handles that look like little curved arrows allow us to reposition the shape. We also are going to learn that we can dimension this shape by changing this to, let's say, 10. Now it becomes thin. You click on this handle here, and now I want this one to be 10. Now it's become very small, but I also want it to be short. So I find the button here and I click this. Now I have a half size box. Okay. Again, we're all trying to learn the controls that are automatically displayed here on the screen by Tinkercad. Wow, we have 7 items in the chat. Let's see what we have. Okay, Michelle says if you hit the arrow next to the box that pops up, it will move it out of the way. Okay. And let's see, the box keeps popping up, which makes it difficult. Okay, we got that. Let's see here. Mine is looking different. Michelle and Gina both have said that. Okay. Michelle, are you better now? You kind of have a good idea where we're at. Are we okay? All right. I'm going to assume that we are. Okay. All right, so we're going to say we're done with this exercise, and we're going to continue on. Okay, so I kind of gave you a precursor to this instruction, which was sizing it up. And so again, we have a red box that's the size that we want or that we don't want, and we have an orange background that has the size that we do want. And now our job in this lesson is to change that red box, meet that. So by doing so, select the box by left-clicking on it, and it'll enable the handles. Remember, these are the same handles that we've had before. And then take the white handle, move it out until it meets the spec here on both sides. And again, you get pretty good with your mouse. And actually that one should be 20. And that fixes that. So you see what I ended up doing there was I got close, but I knew that this needed to be a little bit closer. So you can do it without having to do it just with your mouse. So that guy is pretty good. Let's try this guy. We'll grab this handle here in the left, adjust it out till it meets the spec, and it does. Take this guy and move him back till he meets the spec. 20 and 40, that's where we want to be. And last but not least, we're going to get this guy. Our shape here is kind of in the way, so let's do this. What are we going to do? Anybody have an idea? I think you probably do. We're going to right-click this, and we're going to move this around where we can see it well. We're going to take that guy and put him right here on the corner. This guy, put him on the corner. Change this to 40 because we know that's what we have to have. And let's see here. Now let's control and move this again. This dimension, we can drag it over. And again, here we've got 39, but we know this box, according to the other ones, is supposed to be 40. And we have done our job. go back to our home look, click out here in the middle of space, and boom, we are there. Okay, good. Michelle, I'm glad you got everything figured out there for you. And Gina, you're doing okay too. Yeah, okay. Sorry for the confusion on all that. Well, as you can see, a couple of different ways of getting what we want out of this. Dragging and dropping is one way. Entering the data that you want, the specification that you want in the box is the other way. And more than likely, you're going to use a combination of both of these in most projects that you do. You're going to get it close, and then you're going to go, okay, well, I actually need that to be 39.95. And we could do that, 39.95, and boom, it's going to do it. Now, if you notice, it moved just off of the orange, and so it's wrong according to their deal, but it might be right for what we're doing on a project. So again, we can just click that guy. Even though we're set on a 1 millimeter scale, we can put in less. This is just our snap grid. It's just going to automatically jump 1 millimeter at a time. But we can put whatever we want in these dialog boxes right here. And it will give us the dimension that we want. Okay, next. Got it. Okay, done with that guy. Hopefully everybody did okay on that one. Okay, so the next one is group it. Now we're starting to get where you can actually make things that look like the object that you're wanting it to look like. So we hit continue there. Come on. Okay. So we are going to get to the lesson, but quickly I'm going to show you what this is all about. I'm going to grab this box and I'm going to drag it out here. And I'm going to grab this sphere and I'm going to drag it out here. And I'm going to intentionally place it right on this, right next to this box. In fact, embedded in this box about halfway. We say, how do you know where you are? Well, again, you've got to move around where you can see what's going on. I'm doing a shift right to get it centered, and then I'm doing a control right to rotate it so that I can see what I actually have here. Okay? And I can tell you that's not where I wanted it to be. So let's just click this right side and let's move this guy over a little bit. And now let's control click and let's see if we got it where we want it. Okay, so now I've changed a lot of the shape of this sphere, but now I want to take that sphere and I want it to set on top or on beside. Let's just put it in front, even better, in front of this square. And I want it to be part of this square so that no matter where I move this assembly, it will go together. For example, right now, if I click this, when I move this, just the box moves, see? But if I put it together like this, and then I draw around it like so, and then I put this guy right here called group, it just became one solid piece. Now when I move it, it moves as one. You say, well, that's all fine and dandy, but what happens when this is wrong? Guess what I can do? I can go over here and I can select this by drawing a little window around it. And I didn't tell you that. This is the hard part. Left click just in space and hold it down and draw your little window. It now has selected all of this. And it also engaged this button called the ungroup button. I can click that and guess what? Now it's independent again. So that's grouping and ungrouping. Okay? So another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this guy right here and then I'm just going to delete. So that part that I drug out there, I just wiped it out by selecting, left click, drawing a box around it, and then hitting delete on my keyboard. I could have also gone up here and undo until all of that went away. That's the slow way. So let's go back and do this lesson now. So here we go. This is called Group It, which is about using this bar right here, group and ungroup. Those will only become available at certain times when the software will let you do that. Let's start with this next. The cylinder shape on the left is set to an orange color. The cylinder on the right is set to be a hole. Let's see what happens when we group a box with each of these shapes. So they have already for us grabbed this box, moved it out here, grabbed this cylinder, moved it out here and positioned it on top. They also moved a box out here and they moved this box out here, or pardon me, this cylinder out here and positioned it. So they're going to group each one of these and show you what happens when you group it. I wish I could ask questions and you could respond, but I'm going to ask the question to myself and I'm going to respond as though I'm you. What's going to happen when I group this? That's all going to become one, and it's going to turn this guy red, and it's going to allow this shape to be moved around as one unit. Okay, cool. Well, what's going to happen when I group this guy together? Well, since this is a hole, it's going to cut that hole right through the middle of that, which would be a mating part to this. And then you could actually put this in that, on top of that. So it's going to create the hole that's needed for these two parts to be put together. Okay, so if you follow along in the deal, it says select the box on the left by left clicking the shape. Hold the shift key on the keyboard and also select the orange cylinder. So two ways to do this. Remember my box, like this, one way, or it's click, shift, click. Now we have them both selected. And then it says, with both shapes selected, hit the group button. Remember, that's what this guy is. It pops up and tells us what it is. Hit the group button, and remember what we think is going to happen is it's going to become one. And boom, it does. Awesome. Next up, we're going to do it my way, which is this way. We're going to group it, and boom. You see it cut the hole in it? How do I know? Because I can put it on the top view and I can see the hole. It went all the way through. I can also see the bottom of it. There's the hole again. Okay, cool. Everybody on board? I'm going to check the chat here. Yeah, geometry is huge. everybody can see what I'm reading. And yeah, the geometry of what's going on here. Once again, you're teaching those kids geometry, math, visualization, all these different skills. They don't know that. They think we're having a good time because we're playing this more or less video game. So this is awesome. That's why I like this program for kids especially. Okay, the two shapes should both turn into the same color. And we're going to say here, show the hint. Okay, let's see what they've got to say about a hint. The group color will match the first shape selected, creating the group. If you pick the cylinder first, it'll be that color. If you pick the orange one first, it'll be that color. So anyway, that's that hint. Let's see what this hint was up here. Shapes have selected will be outlined in a blue color. Yeah, if you noticed when we selected this, if you can see when you select something, it kind of turns that outline blue. I'm going to tell you this one. This is a good one for you. I'm colorblind, so I can't tell that's blue, but I can tell that it does have some kind of little glow to it. But I also know it does turn it blue. But anyway, so next up, let's see what we do next. Well, we completed that one. So we're done with that lesson. Now the next lesson that we have here is called Align. Now this one gets a little bit tougher. If you've noticed, we get a little bit more, it gets a little tougher as we go. The idea here is we're just building on knowledge that we had before. So we really can't forget anything that we had before. We have to continue to build on that because you keep using that over and over and over again. And so it's why it's always important to go through this stuff from the beginning to the end rather than jumping in the middle where, just turning them loose and saying, okay, well, just figure out how you do things, because they don't know all the fundamentals of how you really manipulate all this stuff. It's really a much more structured environment than what it first appears. Now, you can get buy-in from the student by just turning them loose on it, but you get instruction by going through this process. Okay, so here we are. Again, this is Align It, and we're in there, so we're gonna continue on. And so we're gonna figure out that this is what we're doing. We're gonna be able to move these shapes around and align them to a particular plane. Okay, so let's explore the different ways that these shapes can be aligned, and we'll hover over an alignment handle. We'll show you a preview of what the alignment will look like. Okay, so select all the box shapes by holding the Shift key on the keyboard and left-clicking each box. Okay, cool. So everybody do that. Click that guy, and that guy. Now we've got them all. Let's see. The alignment handles appear as this whole group around the whole shapes. Hover over your mouse over each of the black alignment dots. In other words, here. Here, I'm sorry. I guess this is the one they want. Yep, and you push the left mouse button. You can stretch them or move them. Okay. So the alignment handles will appear around the shapes. Yeah. So that shows you all these different dimensions that we're dealing with. I think that one's supposed to be 80. Next up, okay. Clicking on any of the alignment handles will move the shapes into that position. So if I click on this one or this one, are we getting anything different? I don't see that we're getting anything different there. I did this one the other day. I'm going to back up. We're going to start over. Let's see what we get. Sorry for the trouble here, folks. Okay. See if I can read these instructions a little bit better. Shapes you have selected will be outlined in blue. With all the shapes selected, click and align the Align button on the toolbar. Align the handles will appear. Okay. So we shift and we click and we click and we click, right? It's just not working for us today.
Did you click the Align button?
Where is the align? Oh,
Up there by, it's two away from the group on the toolbar.
2 away from the group here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. My bad. There we go. Okay. Bingo. Thank you. Yeah, so here's our big dots. Now we can see that it will move it to the front or to the side or to the back plane. So yeah, Gina, thank you for that. The Align tool is here. Group tool is here. This is the mirror tool up here. Again, forgot my Tinkercad etiquette there. So, okay, so our Align tool, again here, this face or this face, this moves it up. Everybody gets on the same plane, all the different pieces. So we can all see that. Align tool up here, on and off. Next. Okay, so we got through that. Okay, so that is the gist of how, and by Align tool, if you noticed, it took these from this one being on the base, this one in the middle, this one being up high, and it moved them all toward the front. So they're all aligned with this front section or whatever section we choose it to be, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's just another tool in your toolbox to help you create a design that you might need everybody to be on the same plane. So we're done with that guy. Okay. So those are the general basic starting tools for all of us to use. So I would say I think we're pretty good shape there on learning how to deal with Tinkercad, and you can now manipulate your objects from your basic toolbar or shape bar. You can also go here And notice there is an exhaustive list of different shapes, okay? For example, a lot of times you might want to have text or numbers. Here they are. And so you can drag those guys out onto your plane as well. You can add those to these blocks, and there are several exercises in Tinkercad that will help you get better at doing that. You also have some tools up here to help you align things and position things on your work plane with this ruler or with your work plane grid. Okay. So with all that in mind, let's go back to our main screen. And again, there I just clicked on the Rubik's Cube. So when you have a design that you want to do something with, such as earlier the question was, how do I print using, print my design from 3D, okay? Okay, yeah, I've got 8 minutes left, and so what we're gonna do real quick, yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. I messed up there during our lesson there. Used a little bit of our time, but nonetheless, so we're doing pretty good. Let's say, for example, I did this design a while back. It was a part that a lady needed. It needed to be all of these different shapes because this goes into it's a little key. And so we 3D printed this key. And so what you can do is you can download this, save it under an STL file, and notice it did it right over here. And then we can put it in a folder, or we can open it. And this is just what it's going to look like from a 3D viewer. And there it is. It's all one piece. So it's that simple to go from Tinkercad to a design and 3D print, okay? Very simple. Basically, you select the design, you download it, choose to be an STL file, and then you're able to move it over to your printer. Okay, real quick to end the deal today, I'm gonna give you a quick tour, and we're probably gonna cut it off real soon, of the 3D printing lab here at Pontotoc Technology Center. Again, I want you to realize that let's see, stop share. I want you to realize that being part of your local career tech and being associated with them is huge. The resources that they have may be something that you don't have at your school. There may be somebody there that does a 3D printing lab or does something like that. So get involved with your local career tech, and they can really help you with a lot of these projects that you might have. Our high school in Ada has some 3D printing printers there, but they also come out here and do some projects with us as well. So let me see if I can get my video up. Kara, can you help me with that video? I sent it to you. Can you make it play?
Let's see. Karen Talbot, do you happen to have that one open?
If not, let me see if I can do it. Yeah, I've got it here. Never mind. Is everybody still seeing my screen?
No, we can't see your screen anymore.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this then. Let's go back to here. We'll go back here and this and share screen and this one. Share. Okay, I'm gonna move this forward till we get some. There we go.
You may have to unmute. I don't know, we're not getting sound.
You got to turn the audio on for that YouTube video. It'll be at the bottom of your options.
Okay, so what do I need to do here?
Turn on the computer audio.
Okay.
It's two little circles at the very bottom. They're so easy to miss.
Two little circles at the bottom.
You might have to reshare. I'm not sure if you can do it from there. You
Okay,
have to
let's stop share here for a
stop
second.
share, start again, and then before you hit the second share button, you'll see two little radio buttons under your screen, under your video.
Wow.
Or it's on the same panel where you choose what video or what screen you're going to share.
Oh,
That
okay.
makes sense.
Share computer sound. Boom.
There you go.
Sorry.
A fishing lure this morning. Pretty neat, pretty fun to do.
Are you hearing it now?
Once you put it on, once you print it, you basically just break it off, and now you have your part. Now, where did that come from? That came from an online program where we could just download it and print that. We can also draw our own using SolidWorks or Tinkercad, lots of different programs that we can use on building a 3D model, downloading it, and printing it. That's kind of the process. We're trying to help you and engineers and entrepreneurs, inventors. If you have a hobby that you want to do a design and to print a 3D object, we'll help you figure out what software to use to do that and figure out what printer that we have here would best be suited for what you're wanting to print. The next machine, very similar to the MakerBot in its style. It uses an extruder head, a filament, a string type filament. Looks very similar to a weed eater string. It's not weed eater string, of course, but it looks similar to that. So different sizes and different colors are available. Many colors are available in that, but it still is a plastic. This machine offers us the opportunity to print in ABS plastic, nylon, or PLA. With this machine, it uses a different type design, so we're able to get a much larger footprint. This machine can print 10 inches in diameter and up to 14 inches tall. As you can see, it uses a different technology, and it's it's what we call a delta. So these three axes work in coordination with each other to keep this print head smooth and level. Objective of that machine, like I said, is primarily because it has an extended envelope of print. This machine was actually put together here at the school, came in a kit form for about half the price of an assembled version. So next up on our machines is the Stratasys Uprint. It is a very sophisticated machine. It uses two types of filament. One is a support material and one is the actual part. By using that, we're able to print a part and then have it very smooth all the way around. No imperfections in the surface finish. So what we do is we print basically a big blob. Inside that big blob is the part. And so each layer will have a mixture of both printed material that we want for the part and printed material that we'll discard. And in order to discard the material, following a print, we will use a wash machine. And so we have a solution. We drop it into the wash machine. We usually use the basket here and drop it in. We cycle it. It's a heated solution. and it's a agitated and heated solution which washes away the material that we don't want, and it lets the material we do want stay intact. And you would ask, why in the world would you want to do that? Well, sometimes you want things to be embedded in other parts. In other words, a part inside a part. We can actually print it that way and then wash away the material that supports that inner part. The most sophisticated machine we have is this Formlabs 2. It's a Form 2 laser printer. It has a resin base, a resin vat that holds material. It has a build plate that goes up and down into and out of the liquid resin. And it has a laser underneath that hardens the material. They call that stereolithographic printing. And so it has the most detail available of all of our printers. However, its downside is that it only has about a 5 by 5 by 5 print area. So we have a small print area, but an extremely detailed, extremely smooth finish. The other neat thing about this one is that we can print in different materials. We can print a flexible resin. For example, here's a flexible resin, very detailed, but you can see it's a flexible part. We also can print a nylon type part, very hard, very rigid. So it just depends on what you're trying to do with your design and how we select our print. Once this is printed and complete, we'll break it away from the print base. We walk over here to this wash area. We have 2 cycles of wash that we'll put it in this basket.
Okay, I think you guys get the idea there about the 3D printing. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate y'all being good participants today and helping us to do your OEIP instruction. And again, appreciate everybody's enthusiasm and the questions, and I apologize for a little bit of the hiccups along the way there. But as you can see, get into that program, have a lot of fun with it, and get your kids involved. And hopefully you'll build some engineers out of this.
Jim, that was a fantastic session. I know we all learned something, and I really enjoyed watching it. I messaged Jim. I said, I want one of those 3D printers for my house. looks pretty handy to have. So again, thank you, Jim. We appreciate you being here. It was very, very informative. So
thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
absolutely, we appreciate you.